broadcasting on the Armstrong FM system. This is 97.9 WHAV.
Catch the wave, WHAV, Merrimack Valley. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And here we are on another Open Mic Show, Bill Macek, and tonight we have an astute panel of two of my colleagues on the City Council, Colin, LePage, and Melinda Barrett. Of course, Melinda is in the center square tonight.
The rose between the thorns, as we know.
That's right, the rose between the... You said it before I did. We've been hanging around too much, I guess, saying the same things. Anyway, we are here for one main topic. I thought it would be good tonight to get together with a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of information for everybody regarding what we will be doing tomorrow night at the Haverhill City Council, and that is looking to vote upon the new recreational, or as the state now wants to call it, adult use marijuana overlay zones. It's a zoning ordinance, and we also have a regular ordinance to kind of set a lot of the ins and outs as to how it's going to work, what you can do, what you can't do, and some of the requirements, such as not just getting a state license, not just getting the mayor's approval with a host community agreement, but also getting the city council's approval with a special permit. So those are all the kind of things we're going to start talking about. But since we're here tonight, anything you want to talk about that's going on in the city, we're here, and you can call us up at 978-374-1900. Remember that number. I think tonight we should have some active phones on this topic and what's going on. I hope so. 978-374-1900. Now, before we start our conversation, I need to just give a little plug for LBD's second generation Italian bakery, because they give us the cake every month that we give away to some lucky birthday person or anniversary person in the next month. So that's we're now in January, so anybody that has either a friend or relative that they would like to call in and let us know about, all we need is for you to call, speak to the producer if we're in the middle of a topic and you don't want to wait to get on the air, but we just need a name and some contact information, and you will have your name put into our cowboy hat, which our producer handles in the other room, and we will draw on the last Monday of January the names that come in for February birthdays or anniversaries, and they will receive a certificate to pick up a free certificate to LBD's second generation Italian bakery, which is located in Bradford
January's
Square.
done.
January's done.
I was going to nominate Melinda.
Oh, jeez. Well, you know.
And she was going to nominate me.
There's always next year. When's your birthday, Colin?
January 20th.
Oh, January. So you both were in January and you missed. See?
Yeah.
Don't you listen to the show?
Why didn't you invite us?
Why don't you listen to the show?
I listened.
You know, come on, call in. We need you to call in once in a while.
might not
Have
ever
a
catch the
friend or a
beginning of the
relative. Have a friend or a relative.
Next year.
Next year, all right? After the election.
God willing.
Okay, we already have a call, so why don't we go right to it? We won't do any setup or anything, and we'll just say, hello, caller.
Hey, Bill. Second time, long time. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. What's your first name?
Ryan.
Ryan. Oh, yes. I remember talking to a Ryan, and I think you were talking about the particular topic that is front and center tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, right. Okay, Ryan, you're not just talking to me, you're also talking to Councilor Melinda Barrett and Councilor Colin LePage, so we're all ears.
Well, I just wanted to voice my gratitude that you guys have pushed this forward and that we're actually going to make it happen. It's going to get rolled out in a smooth, safe way. And that we're really kind of doing something for the city as well. You know, we're going to get a little extra income.
Well, I think you're right about that. A lot of positive thought there.
Yeah, and you know, we did take a long time to roll this out.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, while Ryan's on the phone, let him know about the effort and the work and the due diligence that we did as we're the three of us, along with Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien, are on the Administration and Finance Committee, which handled all of the kind of prep work to get it all ready for the full City Council to review.
Yeah, and Colin LePage here is the chair of the
Right.
Administration and Finance, and I think, what, did you have 6,
We had,
9?
we had 6, we had 9 total meetings last year, and we had 6 meetings just specifically on this topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And then, as you know, we sent it to the planning board, and unfortunately, the planning board actually had to look at it twice, and now we'll have I'll look
our
at it
second
tomorrow
review
night.
of the improved documents and maps.
Yeah, we're coming in maybe
Right.
just a month behind our goal,
Right.
but we're coming in.
Right, and we already have 3 retailers that have signed a host community agreement, so they're all trying to get into the pipeline
Yeah,
and
and continue the
move.
process.
Right,
Just,
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
still
and I
process
think it's
left.
important to get it done right. You guys are really,
And we are working to make sure we get it done right, because it is important. I also just want to point out, because I think it's important that people realize that we didn't just decide as a city council that we would support recreational marijuana sales. We didn't have any choice. The state legislature wrote legislation that says if your community voted over 50%, then you must allow for a percentage of your liquor licenses as a minimum for retail marijuana shops. And that gives us 6. That's why we're saying 6 all the time, is because that percentage, the minimum is 6 shops. And we have no, like Lawrence and Methuen, believe it or not, both voted under 50% in favor of retail marijuana on question 4 in 2016. So their city council retained their local power to make decisions, and they both said no so far. Now, they can change that without doing a ballot question. The only way that we can change it is by having a full tilt election, $35,000 if we wanted to try to get a question answered. And we'd have to do it, post it, and do it all just like a regular election. So it's unfortunate that the legislature did what they did. In my opinion, I think they've almost created 2 classes of communities, of cities and towns in the state. One that can retain their local elected official authority, and one that can't. But we're working ahead anyway. We're keeping a smile on our face, and we're moving forward, because as you said, I think it will be, we're going to do it right, and I think it will be an asset to Haverhill moving forward.
yeah, well, kudos to you guys for listening to the voice of the people in that initial vote. I know we talked last time about another vote, but I'm glad you're heading in the direction that you are. And, you know, I'm glad to hear that you're considering downtown as well. I know that there was some talk about traffic and parking and things like that, but I think, you know, downtown's where the action's at.
Well, there's some things that, when the special permit comes in, I think a couple of things that I'd like to see added to, you know, depending on where it is and, you know, reviewing it individually. But I think, you know, we should probably have a initial period of time. I don't know exactly whether it's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or maybe even we can reevaluate at either 2 or 4 weeks at a time. But I think we should make them have, as they did in Salem, Mass, do appointment scheduling. And then that will also take away some of the curse of long lines from downtown Haverhill all the way out to 495. You know, we don't want that to
There's
happen.
going to be that much.
No, I don't. I'm just
No,
saying that, you know.
I think by the time, you know, these 3 candidates
Right.
get through all their process and get their buildings in shape, I can see there being a facility open in Amesbury or Salisbury.
Right.
There, every week or every month, there's 1 or 2 that are going to open all across the state.
Yeah.
So the impact that those first 2, Northampton and Leicester,
Yeah.
had, it
That's
must,
not-
it
yeah.
drops down every time another place
Exactly.
opens.
Right, I agree with you.
I would imagine. I mean, I'm still
Right.
for, you know,
But I also want to ask, maybe in the special permit, that they agree to at least have arrangements made for an out of downtown parking area or some other way or place close by, but to have shuttle service, as they also did in Salem, so that there's no, I don't want to interfere with any business downtown that is going to say, because of the marijuana shop, I missed customers, or customers won't come to my establishment anymore. So we need to do whatever we can to, but I think it's going to smooth out. As was pointed out to me, if somebody opened a 100-seat restaurant downtown or more, which is possibly going to happen with the old Tulas being renovated, and that restaurants draw crowds at specific times, like dinner time.
Yeah, high density, through 2.5 hours.
Right,
High density.
and they bring a lot of cars just for that time. So this may not be any more impacting than if we had one or two larger size restaurants added to downtown, and nobody would even think twice about it.
I would think it would be closer to having a dentist's office or a
right,
hair salon.
Something with appointments.
If a barber shop or hair salon had 8 chairs,
right.
I mean, that would kind of be.
It could bring a lot of people.
I don't know. I'm for more business downtown, more foot traffic.
As am I.
Yeah.
And if you drive around downtown from 1 o'clock on, I've been doing it for a while now, go into the Goki deck, it's more than 50% empty.
Yeah.
The parking lot behind the tap,
I mean, that could be the auxiliary location where they could just have shuttle service from the Goki deck, because that's always got availability. And I'm told the parking garage has all the top 1 or 2 floors are always available.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, Colin, you want to weigh in, or?
Wow.
He's been waiting.
It's finally happening. I'm so excited. I mean, thank you guys. You've done an awesome job pushing this forward. And you really listened, to the will of the people. The democratic process worked, and it's happening. I'm just so excited.
Yeah, you know what? I really think it's going to be maybe even less, but a year or two, it's not even going to be a second thought. I think about the methadone clinic that we have up on the Plasto line that we were all concerned about. I know I was, and what do we do? And I actually voted a couple of times for the portable methadone bus. We voted it down, the council did. And we don't hear boo about that place. It's in service every day with people that are, in need of services, and they don't make any trouble. They go, they receive the methadone, and they leave. And I think that's what, if anything, I think downtown may benefit, even though they don't want to agree. Some of the shops, they're going to receive spin-off business. Hey, while I'm downtown going to the XYZ retail store, I'm going to get lunch, and I'm going to, go window shop. Right, yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be good.
More traffic down there, better. And do we know what we're going to use the 3%? Do we know what we're going to use that for?
It's 3% as a sales tax, and it's another 3% for the first 3 years of gross sales, I believe.
I heard that the parent about the Whittier School.
Oh yeah, on the school committee meeting.
But yeah, I mean, this is good. The money
there are a lot of needs.
Support the community. Yeah.
We have a lot of needs. The thing that I'm not a big fan of is earmarking every extra dollar that comes in, besides real estate taxes or something. Everybody wants to say, save that money just for this or save it just for that. I think, in all honesty, the mayor does a pretty good job of allocating revenue. We have to sometimes coax him to go in a certain direction, but he does. He's a good thrifty guy, we'll call it. But we get the job done, and I think we're going to be doing some more of that even tomorrow night. Looking forward within the school department.
Yeah. So I mean, this is going to pass tomorrow, right?
Well, I don't know. The crystal ball is cloudy.
Well, you guys are voting.
Well, we have. You know what? And I want to say this. If we're going to really be good city councilors, we should be there tomorrow night with at least an open mind. We may feel that we're going to go one way or the other, but we're going to have people that are going to want to speak to us. And our president, John Mitchison, is going to allow a certain amount of them to say things, not be repetitive, but to give us some of their thoughts, and we'll see what they have to say, and and then he'll call the roll, and we'll make our decision.
All right, well, when you're getting ready to vote, think of me.
Okay.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right.
All right, call in
All
again.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break right now. This is the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the Open Mic.
Panel of Colin, LePage, and Melinda Barrett, both city councilors, and myself, Bill Macek, also on the city council. We're talking about marijuana in particular because tomorrow night we're going to be voting the marijuana, retail marijuana, adult use marijuana, whatever you want to call it, ordinance that we have before us tomorrow night, along with the recommended overlay zones in zoning, all in commercial highway except for downtown, I believe. Is that correct, Colin?
Sorry, say that again? I had my headphones
the
on.
Oh, yeah.
You can't hear me in your
No, I
headphones?
can't, no, I
Not
hear
really.
you.
All right. You just never listen. The zones that we chose were all in commercial highway, except for downtown. That's not commercial highway.
Correct.
I don't think so. Yeah, but there was an interest in
And
downtown.
it's not every commercial highway zone.
No.
No, it's not
we
every
did-
commercial highway
so-
zone. We selected from
Right,
the
so as you said earlier, we had to allow the opportunity for up to 6.
Correct.
Doesn't mean that we will have 6.
Right.
They will have to go through the process, as you said, a host community agreement with the mayor, go through the Cannabis Control Commission and go through that process, then come back to us for a special permit.
Right.
So we're just making sure that we do everything by the laws of the state of Massachusetts.
Right.
And also with the city and to protect the city's interests in all things that we can,
I agree.
right?
We have a phone call. Let's take another phone call right here on the Open Mic Show. The number is 978-374-1900. If you want to get in line, call us. And right now we have a caller. Hello, caller. What's your name?
Hi there, my name's Sierra.
Hi, Sierra.
And hi, I live in Newburyport, and I just wanted to say thank you for covering this and for working so hard as city councilors to get this zoning in place, to make way for retail cannabis in Haverhill. I wish our city council had done the same, but they bowed to the will of a loud minority who did not want retail here, and so now we are facing another ballot question in November. Which is disappointing to us, but I wanted to just I know this is a contentious issue, and I really do appreciate it, and we appreciate it when we see other municipalities taking the lead, respecting the vote, the 56% that voted to allow this in Haverhill.
Yep.
And you're setting a good example, so thank you. And I look forward to possibly spending my dollars in Haverhill in the next few weeks, because it's going to be a while till I can do it here in Newburyport.
Thank you very much for your call, and come on, we welcome you to Haverhill.
I will be there.
Tell all your
Belmont,
friends and
thank
relatives.
you. It'll all be in
Great
line.
restaurants
Yeah.
in town, too.
Right.
Everybody's coming.
Great.
So,
A lot of good reasons
thank
to come
you.
to Haverhill.
Thanks for your hard work.
Thank you very much for your call, Sierra.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
great. You know, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, the fact that we are going to be. What'd you do, Chris? That's our producer. He fell asleep and his elbow hits the board sometimes and makes things go.
Is that why you bang on the window?
Yeah. It's live radio, everybody. In the ordinance, Colin, is
Yes.
there anything that you see us discussing other than the overlay areas? Or I think it's also maybe you could discuss about the different things. It's not just for retail marijuana, because the state has other things that you need to get licensed for, such as delivery,
Cultivation. Manufacturing.
Right.
Testing.
Right.
There's all kinds of, I believe there's 8 or the total 10, and they're talking about now transportation in social consumption, but
Which they
Right.
haven't
which is
Right.
not.
reached any conclusion
Right,
yet, as far
right.
as.
Social
But-
consumption
But there's
is
other
down the
things
road.
that I think, you know, I think most of the focus seems to be on a retail store and what that will look like. And I think that's one thing that not a lot of folks realize what it is. There's a lot of controls put in by the regulations of the state that says that you cannot have a big pot leaf or the naming. I think there was an article in today's Boston Globe
Yeah.
talking about just even the names.
Right.
That you don't really see that it says this is marijuana mania or
Yeah.
cannabis chuck wagon, or I don't know what they're all kind of things that you have to see, like New England Treatment, which is NETA, N-E-T-A. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of names. I think they might start looking to change it. I didn't get to fully read the article that was in the Globe today about that, but there's some folks saying that they don't even see that. But as we know, and we've seen that the regulations show that you can't have an open storefront and displaying of
Yeah,
this kind of paraphernalia versus.
It's not gonna look like a head shop from,
Right.
back in the day, or
Right.
you
with
won't
big
even know
glass
what it
windows that you see
is.
everything inside.
Well, we have a paraphernalia shop
like that at all.
on Washington Street already,
Yeah.
with big glass windows and showing
It's
a
not
lot
gonna
of
look like
glass.
that at all.
So I bet a
They
lot of
can't.
people are going to go in there looking to
Yeah.
probably buy retail marijuana, and they're going to know that you have to go someplace else. But-
Yeah,
but
the restrictions placed by the Cannabis Control Commission are very stringent.
They are. They're extremely stringent. They're going to have security guards there all the time.
Yeah,
One person at a time, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but one person at a time goes in to
Through a hallway.
the hallway, right? And then when they get to near the doorway to the store,
Their ID's
they got to
checked the
show
second time.
right, yeah.
before they
No,
can
it's
even enter the.
checked off the first time
First time
to
at
get
the
in,
gate.
and then when they go to purchase, they're checked
Checked
again.
again.
Right.
Yeah.
And then do they have to show their ID to get out?
I don't believe so.
No.
They've-
Okay.
I think
But-
they've been
but-
checked.
But it's only one
multiple times.
person at a time out.
Yep.
So it's
Well,
very restrictive, very
you can have-
stringent.
I believe you can have more than one person inside the store.
In the store,
itself.
but
In the
entering-
store,
But
once
the
they get
access,
into the
yes,
store,
but-
but
entering
the access is one at a
building.
time.
Correct,
Is
and
one at
each
a
one will
time.
have different, so I went and to look at, when we were talking about medical marijuana, I went driving around to see what they were. I went to Alternative Therapies in Salem, I went to, there's one in, I think it's Green Remedies in Newton. I've driven by them and seen, there's the one in Brookline, and I might be mixing up the names of the ones. The one in Brookline, I'll say, is an old bank. So there's only just this, the only thing you
So
see
they
is the
have a
sign.
vault. They got a vault.
It's just a bank, and as I drove by, I saw that there was an officer in the parking lot and someone there, and at the moment, as they're going through things, some now are starting to do credit with this, but before everything had to be cash, so there was an
Right.
ATM out front.
Right.
And the same thing I've seen in other locations, that's how it was. I went out when Leicester opened and when Northampton opened, the two out there. I went out there the following week just to see what it was looking like. And I think it's also a matter of where they're located and what else is in the area. In Leicester, there was really nothing. It's on Route 9. It's very rural, and there was nothing there. So as far as where for people to park, there was no other like plaza. There's no other shopping areas. There was nothing. In Northampton, it's close to 2 hotels, a car wash, a newspaper. The next block was a package store. It was less than a half mile from their downtown, and it was right off the highway. So I mean, it's just a matter of what is
Well,
thought
I
of
think
as the
we've
best
done a good
locations.
job of spreading them out, too, in the
And
zones.
that was part
Maybe
of the
we should
commercial highway
actually
and what we
talk
did.
in a little detail about the zones right after we take a short break, right here on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, we are back on the Open Mic Show, and we are talking about mainly tonight the overlay zones and the new ordinance we're going to be passing for adult use marijuana.
Maybe passing.
Well, we're going to be, yeah, that's true. Maybe passing. We'll have it on the agenda. It is on the agenda.
Yes.
We'll at least be discussing it tomorrow night. And the planning board has recommended we pass it. They unanimously voted in favor of it without any changes, which was almost a surprise, because the first things they looked at when they didn't have all the information and it wasn't quite as
Clear to
well
them,
presented, they were concerned about 2 areas. So let's talk about those areas. Linda, you got the maps. You can talk right about the maps and what
You're prepared.
just as
I came
and give an overview as to, we looked
All
at
right.
commercial
So
highway.
we looked
and-
at commercial highways, and we used the previous medical marijuana zone, which is off 97.
Right,
um,
Broadway. yeah.
Broadway. Which we never got anybody to move into the medical
We didn't,
marijuana.
nope.
We almost did.
We
but
almost
not-
did.
Not quite.
Came close.
And then we have areas off of 495 on 110 heading towards Merrimack, near the
And
Haverhill Crossings and the Garden Center
Between
there.
Haverhill Crossings and the Dunkin'
And
Donuts.
then the mobile station, yeah.
On both sides of the
Yeah.
street. Yeah.
And then,
Now, that's got good
research done.
495 access,
Yeah,
and so
also
does the first one.
Immediate 495 access,
Yeah.
as does the medical
Broadway
marijuana
one, yeah.
spot.
And they can do other things besides do retailing. They can like saying that medical marijuana zone, they could also do
Cultivation,
manufacturing.
testing.
Yeah, yeah,
And then we also had Plastow Road,
yeah. Up
up near the
up
state line,
125, turn right onto Plastow Road.
Yep.
Yeah, where
which,
there's a lot of commerce up there now.
there's a lot of commerce up
Yeah.
there. It might not be immediate access, but there's a lot of commerce up
Right.
there. So, close to the highway,
Right,
but also close to other retail and
Right.
food establishments mostly. And then we have a portion of River Street from about Lamont.
kind of from, I've been saying it's
Down to
between
Jafarians.
Jafarians to
Yeah.
Smith Motors,
Yeah, that's a pretty good,
and kind of both sides of the street.
yeah,
Yeah, and
pretty good description.
And interestingly enough, that one may take some of the traffic away from downtown, and that's one of the applicants that has already received their
Right, they're one of the three
their host
that are-
community
they're-
agreement.
that have already
So I'm
negotiated
sure
with the
they're
mayor.
moving fast too, but somebody getting off 495 or coming from Methuen down 110
Might make that first
might
stop.
just say,
yeah.
hey, why do we need to
Here's
go
one.
downtown? There's one right here with free parking.
Right, and then we also have one on Knight Road,
Yeah,
two on Knight Road,
yeah,
and the Washington Street District. The Merrimack Street District
Right.
was removed.
right. And so we've kind of spread it around, and that's not to say that either, some future council or somebody may come forward requesting if we would consider doing an overlay in
a
some other
different area,
section
yeah.
in a different, area. So it's all kind of flexible, just like the state, the CCC, the Cannabis Control Commission is somewhat working, blindly, just trying to, make the right decisions from finding out what other communities have done, what other states have done.
Right,
And I think we're probably getting a reward for not doing it first, because there's it's over 8, I think now, right?
I think
We're
so.
up in that vicinity.
10, I think.
Retail
8 to
stores?
10 states, retail states. But we're the first in the Northeast.
oh, I thought you were talking about the stores.
No,
Okay.
no.
Oh, how many states?
Yeah,
are actually
yeah.
doing
No.
adult
Like
use marijuana?
everybody knows
yes.
Colorado,
Yep.
and they have.
Washington.
Well, yeah, they've done it in California, and so they've kind of tweaked their way of doing things, and I think we're trying to also, as a state, to
Right, I don't
don't
think
make the
this-
same mistakes they made, because they've already fixed them.
I don't think the state ran into this willy-nilly.
Oh, yeah.
They, as we all went to a few
A
different
number of them, yeah.
discussions,
Seminars
seminars,
Yeah.
and the Cannabis Commission had a talk in Amesbury
Yeah.
last year. And I was impressed with the way the Cannabis Commissioners,
Right,
handled themselves and their depth of knowledge and concern for the different communities
yeah.
that
It's-
are taking this on.
Just like we're trying to do it in Haverhill for the state, they're taking their time doing it right. It's the reason why we don't have the consumption. They could have just decided, let's just do consumption like Colorado does it.
Yeah.
But we're figuring it out for our own state, what's best. So we do have another call. I want to remind everybody that we are taking calls throughout the program. 978-374-1900 is the number to call, and you can get in line. We're going to take a caller right now and see what is on the mind of caller. Hello, how are you?
Hello, Bill. Hello, Melinda. Hello, Colin.
Okay.
Hello.
This
Who
is
is this?
This is Brian.
Oh, you recognize
He's
my voice.
he's a regular caller. We appreciate regular callers.
Well, I was tempted to call up. You're talking about where to, put in the marijuana places. And I'm thinking of calling and saying, I want to know where. Well,
Calm yourself down, Brian.
if anybody mentioned having some of these or one of these, any of these places on a public transportation route. People talk about
think they are.
Yeah,
highway
it's been part of
access and
our
parking.
discussion.
They are. I think
I think
they're in the
they are-
MVRTA
They
routes.
all are, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because they're
Okay,
commercial highway zones, so that they already have a draw for certain businesses that are already in them. So the MVRTA probably is going to cover all of them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they do.
Yeah.
Because when medical marijuana was zoned, that was a concern too, so people could
It was.
get to
Yeah,
to get to their medical
You're right,
marijuana.
yeah.
That was a definite high concern.
Something we considered, I definitely have it there on Broadway.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I know that downtown for sure, with the, what is it, the number 18 bus, or a bunch of different ones go through there.
Yeah,
But, you have these other areas and outlying areas. We're in a transit zone that has flag stops for the most part.
Right.
yeah,
And so a person gets off a bus and goes into the establishment, and then good luck getting back.
well, we don't want that to be the problem. but-
Yeah, that, I don't think that will be a problem at this level. There's no consumption at the store.
Right,
It's a cash and carry.
right, unless you take the last bus in, and you spend too much time in the store, then they'll be done until morning, Brian, so,
Well, it'd be nice
You
if they
got-
took some of the proceeds to educate law enforcement on how they're going to, keep track of this stuff, because, we have enough problems with, people having too much alcohol and getting behind the
Well,
wheel.
yeah, that's a big problem with it. There's no test.
they're working on it
They're working
statewide.
towards it.
They're training people to be able to
They
make,
are training people.
yeah, yeah,
Drug recognition experts,
right,
DREs, I
exactly,
believe.
yeah. So that's, like, we've all said, it's just a work in progress in a lot of ways. And I think that the police, in Haverhill, they'll be trained. I'm confident that we'll have a number of them, trained, as Colin says, as being able to recognize if somebody's impaired
Right.
while they're driving. But the other thing that I heard of just once in a newscast last week, there was some specially appointed committee, and they put out 19 recommendations of what they think should be considered by the Cannabis Control Commission, and what the state should do. And the one that was being discussed in particular was that they recommended that the state do a mimic, to carbon copy, if you are caught, or if you're stopped driving either too fast or too slow, and the officer feels that, you're impaired, and it's not alcohol, if you refuse to take a mouth swab,
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about like a breathalyzer.
and but breathalyzers don't work.
No, I
for-
understand it, but
Right,
the
so,
same- the
because if
same
you,
thinking.
right, if you refuse
So
to take a breathalyzer,
committee-
you lose your license.
Right. I believe that committee is part of, just like the city council has subcommittees,
Yeah.
administration of finance, public safety, they have the same thing with the Cannabis Control Commission, they have a public safety commission. I believe that was their recommendations to their whole body, saying, this is what is, which mostly comprised, I believe, advocates for, but also a lot of law enforcement people and possibly medical doctors and stuff like that.
But that makes a lot of sense. If they won't submit themselves to the test, they automatically lose their license. What is it for drunk driving, 90 days? Is it automatic 90 days, I think?
I thought it was 6 months.
6
I
months?
think it was
Okay, I don't know what the term is, but
I
it
don't
will,
know.
it will be probably the same amount, whether it's for drunk driving or refusing to take a breathalyzer or refusing to take a mouth swab that,
Right. Okay,
can be
that makes
tested
sense.
for the,
Mhm.
what's in your system.
And
Pretty
better
interesting
than,
stuff, isn't it?
jumping up
Whoever
and down
thought,
on 1 foot and juggling oranges.
whoever thought 10 years ago would be talking about this tonight?
Yeah, I'm really surprised about it. But,
I know.
We'll just see what happens and chalk it up to experience.
You got it.
And one of the things, I'm sorry, if whoever's able to develop something that you can do that test like a breathalyzer, imagine the amount of money in.
Yeah.
So if we
Oh,
have,
yeah.
if we have folks that have that capability in Haverhill as far as medical testing and other things that we have, that would be such an increasing
we got a lot of technology.
revenue thing and
Yeah.
just a breakthrough
And I'm wondering
of what they're
about,
working
like,
on.
something, if they could just focus in on the consumer's eyeballs, But I don't know. I don't know anything.
No, I don't know what they'll come up with, and it's probably not in my wheelhouse to even start thinking about trying, so we'll leave it to the,
Same over here.
we'll leave it
To the experts.
to the expert, or somebody in a incubator, maybe
Yeah,
Duke,
research.
maybe John Mitchison or Dugan can help get some people interested in that.
Oh, yeah.
They work with all the upstarts that go on to have, flourishing 21st century businesses.
Well, like I said, if you look at all the businesses that they've had since medical marijuana, there's only a few testing facilities.
Right.
So, and then all those had to be requalified for basically the same product for adult use now. So if you get into that with this little
Yeah, that's
players,
true.
right? So they're the ones, everyone has to go there. So
Yeah.
if they're able to come up with more testing as this becomes what it, as we know it's going to be.
Yeah, the more places, the more
places, the more
labs
stuff.
you're going to need.
And it's not just here in Haverhill or in
Statewide.
Massachusetts, it's
Right.
nationwide.
Yeah, oh, that's true, yeah. Yeah.
Geez, I wonder how many decades will go by before we find it on the dessert menus at the restaurants.
Well, I don't mean to tell stories, but I spoke to a couple of women. They were from Colorado and Utah area, I think, and they had I think they had the state of Washington too, that they have set up the training for, you when you want to be a bartender, you have to take the tips course.
Right.
And, well, they have
Full
the
time.
equivalent of a tips course, but for marijuana. And they told me that it's become very popular at weddings, that they get these one-day cannabis licenses for distribution, and you have to hire a licensed professional as the distributor. So there's another little growth industry happening in other states.
I think we'd have to hire a babysitter for wedding receptions.
So, welcome to the 21st century, Brian. It's here.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break right now. We'll be right back with more right here on the Open Mic on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495.
Public radio for Greater Haverhill. This is 97.9 WHAV.
Catch the wave.
On air or online, 97.9 WHAV serves you. Twice an hour weekdays, keep up to date with exclusive local news and weather. Find out about civic events on Community Spotlight every quarter hour. And better prepare with WAVE weather every 30 minutes. Mass Moments, Melinda's Garden Moment, Soundbeat, and Insight Daily complete the spectrum. Hear classic comedy and drama 7 nights a week at 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. Finally, a unique blend of rock and roll hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s round out the entertainment. Stay with 97.9 WHAV, the only Haverhill-based news source.
Say Smith. Mercedes-Benz has for over 50 years. Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill offers new and certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz SUVs, crossovers, sedans, and coupes. And with its state-of-the-art sales and service facility, Smith is able to offer a different kind of customer experience unlike any other. Countless reasons, one choice. Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill at 420 River Street, routes 110 and 113. There's more on the web at onlymercedes.com.
Catch the wave. WHAV. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And we're back on the Open Mic Show. This is Bill Macek, and my guests. It's like a city council small committee here, but it's not an illegal
Right,
committee
it's not a quorum.
meeting. Nope, we have to have 5 for a quorum. So we're just chatting as colleagues. We have Councilor Colin LePage, Councilor Melinda Barrett, and myself, Bill Macek here. We're talking about a pretty big vote that's coming up tomorrow night. It's going to be on the overlay zones for retail marijuana and accessory marijuana businesses that can happen here in the city of Haverhill. And if you're for it or against it, we'd like to hear from you, 978-374-1900. So give us a call as soon as you can. And we're going to continue on, I think, beyond the 7 o'clock hour because we've had good calls and we got a lot of other information we'd like to talk about, too, and maybe even some things that
There's other stuff on the agenda tomorrow
There's
night?
other things, too, sure. Yeah. And you're, I know you, Colin, have a real interest in the green communities, right?
I do.
And I know you'd like to speak about that. Let people know about it. Let them know what's going on.
Is now a good time?
Yeah.
Well, we have 5 minutes till the top of the hour, so.
Or should I wait? Is this, you want to tease?
Oh, you
it
wanna
after?
You
tease
can
it?
always continue after the 5.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you shut me off.
But no, we can just, chat a little bit here for
chat a little bit about it.
vamp for
Okay.
Yeah,
about 5
you
minutes.
could tell us the background
But-
of
yeah.
the green communities.
Oh, thanks for
Because
Say-
it extends.
and say- and
You've
you-
been working on this for a long time.
And any homeowner that does this will probably save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, right?
No, not necessarily.
No?
No, it's not. This is.
That-
We have
this
other
is the
programs that we've talked about,
overall.
though.
Oh,
We're talking
okay.
about the Mass
This is
Save
the one
program.
that, this Green Communities is
This
helping the city.
benefits the city, but if it benefits the city.
But you're also big on the other one.
No, I am. The Mass Save, where
Mass
folks
Save,
come into your
that's
house.
what
and-
I'm
and
sorry, I got
insulation,
confused, yeah.
And they do things as far as light bulbs. You get a boiler replacements.
Yeah.
They have all kinds of rebates in front of the
Yeah.
weatherize
So we should
the
talk
house.
about that a little bit too.
Low-cost
if-
loans.
We'll do that for the 5
We'll
minutes. Then
do
we'll get into
that.
the.
We'll do that. You want to do that for the 5 minutes?
Let's do it,
Yeah.
Sure.
All right,
because
go
it's a
ahead.
thing.
Go
So-
ahead.
So with Mass Save, it's a program that you're all paying for. It's part of your electric bill. Just same thing as far as public media. It's on your Comcast bill if you have that and such. So you're paying it. It's in there. So you're always paying it. So you should utilize this because you already have it. They'll come once every 3 years. They'll come and do an inventory of your house. They will replace all your.
You mean they
light
count the
bulbs.
knives and forks and that kind of stuff?
Light bulbs there.
No.
This is what they're doing. So light bulbs, energy efficiency. So they'll come in and say, they'll check the windows as far as insulation, they'll check on how things are, and then they have programs that they'll either give you free things, which they will, like I said, light bulbs and other things.
Yeah.
Outlets and such, and also if you need to weatherize your house. I weatherized my house for a fraction of what it was for my attic. It's much better now
Yeah.
than it used to be. And also, if you haven't weatherized your attic, let's say, that you're prone to ice dams, because what happens is the heat goes up through.
Yeah.
So this is a little public service announcement also.
Melts the
If
snow.
It goes up through, then it gets down to the very ends of the eaves, and then it freezes. That's
Yep.
how an ice dam happens.
Right.
So if you have it insulated, you're saving energy, keeping your house warm, and saving yourself money.
Yeah.
So they do those kind of services, and you're already paying for it. So
Right.
it's a free service. You just need to have someone come out. They'll spend an hour to an hour and a half with you doing that. And you can see that, and we actually have local companies
Yeah.
that, right here in
Revise.
Haverhill,
Right.
that
Yeah.
do that. Revise
And-
Energy is one of them,
And can somebody go on a website to find all the different
Yeah.
names?
and all the different ones, sure.
Okay. Do
So it's a Mass
Do you
Save
want to
program.
give the website? Is
I-
it the City of
I
Haverhill?
wasn't fully prepared
Can
for that,
the
'cause
Ci-
I was gonna talk about green
City of
communities, but
Haverhill
yeah.
website, maybe? Is it
No,
on
I
there?
don't believe
No?
so.
Do we
Oh,
guide
really?
them?
Talked about it.
How about calling 311?
Yes.
Do they guide people there?
Maybe.
311
They
does
do a great
everything.
service,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
another service that Haverhill provides that people aren't fully utilizing or probably even some aware of. So,
So, I mean, it's nice to call a counselor, but you
Yeah.
can also call and speak with someone 311 that gets you to the department. They give you a number, a callback. They keep you informed of what your issue, if it was a pothole or if you had tree limbs or whatever the issue was.
Right.
They keep track of it.
yeah.
Possibly better than
It's constituent
individual council
services.
members.
Well, not better than
Not
the three of us.
I don't want to speak for everyone.
You know, constituent services, I love doing.
We
I know
all
you,
do.
we all
We
do,
all do.
right.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with a guy today, hour and 15 minutes on one issue, and I'm not done with it, but I will be. So anyway, that's the way it works. But if somebody has a question, a problem, a pothole, anything like that they would like to address, and just call 311, and if they can't get a counselor,
And they
Yeah.
don't
Or
even
do
have to,
both.
they can,
or do both.
You can do
right?
it online.
and we'll get it done.
You can
That's
do
right.
it with your cell phone.
Yep.
You can take a picture.
Yep. Oh, we have a call, so let's take it real quick. We got about a minute and a half. Let's take that call right now. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Councilors. Ken Quimby Jr., how are you?
Kenny.
Ken.
Hey, Kenny.
Good. How are you?
Hi. Just a general question. I know I'm against the marijuana, but I know what's going to happen. My only observation is for downtown. What's the situation for tomorrow night with you councilors for the Washington Street area? That's the only question I have to ask, and I'll to you, councilors, tomorrow.
We're probably going to...
Thank you.
Okay, Kenny, thanks for calling in. I think we'll hold that answer until after the break, though, because I don't think we can really maybe all three of us answer that in a minute unless you want to try, or you. I'm not going to try in a minute. I know how words just get in the way and you go. So we're going to wait, okay, Kenny? We're going to wait on your question, and we'll pick it up when we get back from our top of the hour, 7 o'clock break. And this is the Open Mic Show. Tonight's program is kind of about City of Haverhill stuff. We've got three city councilors here. Councilor Colin, LePage, Councilor Melinda Barrett, and myself, Councilor Bill Macek. I'm really the host of the Open Mic Show, but tonight I think I'm wearing two hats.
At least.
Yeah, it's nothing new for me. But that's the way it works here at the Open Mic Show. Get in line to get on the phone with us, 978-374-1900. We are the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic!
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495.
It's 7 o'clock.
WHAV LP Haverhill.
Here's what's happening in local news. Residents are mourning the unexpected passing of John Radka, a 26-year Navy veteran who recently served as the city's acting Veteran Services Director. Radka, the longtime executive director of Veterans Northeast Outreach Center and a member of the city's Vietnam Veterans Memorial Ad Hoc Commission, reportedly died Saturday morning after being stricken ill on Friday. By any standard of reason, John was a giant in veteran services and a fine sailor. He will be sorely missed. I hope to be half the leader that he was, said Ralph Basilier, Commission Chairman. City Council Vice President Thomas Sullivan plans a moment of silence during Tuesday night's City Council meeting. Sullivan spoke highly of Radka's accomplishments during his time in Haverhill, including operating the original home for veterans on Cedar Street and the subsequent expansion into the Mount Washington neighborhood. This has made such a positive difference in the quality of life for veterans and other residents of the neighborhood, he said. Radka of Salem, New Hampshire, was a retired Command Master Chief and Chief of the Boat while enlisted in the U.S. Navy. He was appointed by Mayor James Fiorentini last September to serve as Acting Veteran Services Director upon the retirement of Michael Ingham. He served until the December appointment of separated U.S. Marine Captain Amanda Buckley. During a live broadcast heard over WHAV in November, Radka discussed work behind creating more than 50 new housing units for veterans in and around the Merrimack Valley. One of his most recent projects was closing on the former Gerson Furniture Building on Haverhill's Washington Street. The long vacant property will become 44 apartments for veterans and their families. Sullivan said perhaps the greatest honor we can give him is to remember him when we dedicate the new mixed-use commercial and residential development in the former Gerson's Furniture Center. Basilier, who told WHAV he's worked with Radka at least 8 years, called out fair winds, Chief, in his notice to the commission. I'm proud to have counted John as one of my personal friends and a mentor. My thoughts are with his family and the larger veterans family. City roofer Carlos Ortiz is the second roofer in 2 years to die in an accident sustained during a renovation overseen by NEI General Contracting, WHAV has confirmed. Employed by River Street's Progressive Roofing at the time of his death, Ortiz was working 9 stories up at 98 Essex Street when he fell down what is said to be an elevator shaft. The Essex Street project, a renovation of the former Chen building, was overseen by construction management company NEI out of Randolph. NEI in turn subcontracted Progressive Roofing to carry out related on-site duties. OSHA holds general contractors like NEI responsible to make sure work is carried out safely and complies with all standards. Ortiz's death triggered an OSHA investigation that runs concurrent to that of the Essex County District Attorney and looks into potential violations of the OSHA Act rather than the cause of the roofer's death. Documents uncovered by WHAV showed the December 18th incident is not the first time NEI was subject to an OSHA investigation. Rockwell Roofing was the company contracted by NEI for a job on Dorchester's Magnolia Street in November 2016 when a roofer fell and died on impact, OSHA records show. The employee was laying down insulation when he fell off the roof and was killed after landing on the pavement, OSHA's accident investigation summary reads. The same year, NEI was slapped with a fine of $10,267, later dismissed during the settlement phase after a subcontractor on the same Dorchester project came into contact with an exposed electrical conductor and was shocked. Results of OSHA's investigation into the December accident in Haverhill are not expected for several months, the agency told WHAV.
Business Bulletin.
Haverhill is among the communities poised to benefit from a $75,000 donation from the New England Patriots to Merrimack Valley-based youth outreach group UTEC. Issued last month, the donation is the first of its kind from the Patriots Social Justice Fund. CEO Greg Crito and Policy Director Jeff Foster headed to Foxborough to present an overview on UTEC's work to reduce recidivism and discuss the group's passion for criminal justice reform. The men and several staff members also mingled with players, including Julian Edelman, Patrick Chung, and Devin McCourty. The players share our belief that young people are the experts in their own experience of social justice, Crito told WHAV in a statement. This grant will help young adults make progress in their personal lives and in addressing policy that improves all of our lives. The newly established Social Justice Fund is organized and funded by players who vote on which organizations to support. Patriots owner Robert Kraft regularly contributes, often matching players' donations. UTEC, which expects to open a satellite location on Winter Street later this year, has worked closely with the city and Mayor Fiorentini's office in an effort to curb gang-related violence in Haverhill over the last several months. Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source. There's always more at WHAV.net. From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, I'm Eric Scott.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Rebecca Foster. U.S. President Donald Trump has explicitly denied working for Russia after he appeared to evade the question in an interview over the weekend. UK Prime Minister Theresa May is trying to persuade members of Parliament to back her Brexit deal ahead of a crunch vote on it Tuesday. And the U.S. government shutdown has continued into a fourth week. It's now the longest shutdown on record.
Wave weather.
Here's your wave weather forecast for Haverhill in the Merrimack Valley. Fully clear skies tonight with a low of 15, a northwest breeze near 3 to 6 miles per hour. About the exact same wind and full clear skies, and we'll double the temperatures, 32 for the high, mostly clear, low 24 for Tuesday night, and a little bit more mild on Wednesday. Sunny skies, highs right around 40. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
For more in-depth coverage of the news, visit WHAV's website at WHAV.net.
WHAV, Merrimack Valley, open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, we are back. This is the Open Mic Show. I'm Bill Macek, and my guests tonight are from the Haverhill City Council, my colleagues.
Oh, here we go.
We have a call already. The phones are heating up for the second hour. I have City Councilor Melinda Barrett and City Councilor Colin LePage here for your calls. And let's take a call at 978-374-1900. Hello, caller.
Hello there. How you doing this evening?
Good. How are you?
Colin, Melinda. I'm well. It's Nick calling from
Hi, Nick.
Standing Downtown.
Okay.
Where you're talking about having a dispensary. Yeah. I just want to say, so, per the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission documents that talk about economic development, it's so important to have foot traffic, and you discussed that in the first hour of the show, and I hate to belabor the point, but I just want to emphasize it again. Having people pop into stores, and they come down, they pick up whatever they want from the dispensary, they walk out, they go eat at the Hidden Pig or Keon's. It's just really, it's going to be a nice addition, I think, and in the frame of the amount of work you've all done, I mean, Colin, talking about driving out to Western Mass, I mean, that's a hike. You all have done such such hard work on this, and I know it's sometimes a thankless job. So thank you for the work, really.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you for calling in, and thank you for your support of the downtown district in particular, but you must be supporting all of the proposed zones citywide?
Yes, and I think, the work done by was it Admin and Finance that went in and did that with the schools where it couldn't be at a certain distance from the schools? Is that correct?
Yes. Well, actually, it's a state.
state.
It's a Cannabis Control Commission state regulation.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. I mean, that's a sign that they're at least aware, and it seems like they've been really good in terms of working
And that
with
came from
the city.
previous medical marijuana had that. And
Right.
So we also wanted to
We
make sure we
mimicked
incorporated
it.
that.
We mimicked it into the retail.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Adult
well,
use
that's awesome. And
council.
I'd gone to the planning
Adult
board meeting
use.
just last week where they did
Retail.
vote, 8 and an abstention or something.
Yeah,
in
it
favor
was an
of recommending it. So,
Correct. Yeah, and the one was really for whatever reason, he abstained. He did not vote no.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there you go. But yeah, again, I know. So, I mean, doing all that driving and going to all those meetings. I used to cover some small towns in southern New Hampshire as a journalist, and the selectmen, the local governments up there, did not put in nearly the amount of work you guys are doing. So again, genuinely, it's really impressive. And yeah, I'm really excited to have this downtown. It's part of our continued renaissance, right?
Yeah,
Keep going.
Nick, let me just mention that Colin has a job. He can work on his phone while he's driving, because Massachusetts still allows you to drive and talk.
Right.
So don't think that this was just all out of the goodness of his heart.
All of you guys. All of you guys.
Listen, and my employer appreciates that too, Counselor, that I actually do some work also, not
That's
just
right.
council work.
You probably made a few business stops along the road, too.
We try to do that.
Yeah, right. So, Colin does a great job. He is definitely probably the hardest working city councilor. Maybe you two would be battling out for that, but it's.
Oh, thank you.
And I do my fair share too, but it's not just what you see on Tuesday night to be on the city council.
Yeah, no, it's more than that. And Bill, I know you're just talking about an hour and 30-minute constituent call. I know that from the State House. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And that's the
But
groundwork of it, and it's important.
But
So-
you know what? It's the good stuff though too.
Yeah, of course. Of course, you get to help people. I mean, that's what makes it great.
Right.
So,
Especially when you get it
I
done.
won't steer you off much more. I just wanted to say, yeah, I think downtown is where I'm one more voice for dispensary downtown. Count me.
Okay. Thanks for your call. Okay.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay. All right. This is the Open Mic Show. 978-374-1900. We have a line open for you to call in if you have a comment on what's going to be happening on the agenda tomorrow night. It's the hearing regarding the zones, the overlay zones for adult use marijuana. And but they're going to retail it at those locations, right?
The applicants that we've seen, I believe, are just retail.
Yeah, I think so. There others will come, though. I think this is going to be a burgeoning little industry for the city, and we will do well having it here in Haverhill, because I don't think it's going to be, we'll all say it at once. Ready? Reefer madness. Because it's going to, people worry about things, and then they don't happen. And I think that this will be done properly. We have a very good police department that, everybody gets it, and they work hard. They do an incredible job. And I think that this is just going to be like another business opening. And every new business that opens brings traffic.
Right.
But we have extra spots right now. So
We do.
Yeah, so we'll be okay. 978-374-1900. Now, Colin, we also said we were going to answer Kenny's question. Tell the caller we'll be right. We got another call. We want to at least quickly answer Kenny's question. He wanted to know tomorrow night how we felt about voting for the districts and
for all the districts.
For all the districts.
Well, Kenny
including
mentioned
the downtown.
Including the downtown, and I think they said it's an open hearing. We've had 6 public meetings as Administration of Finance. We've had 2 planning board meetings. We've talked about this numerous times, so I'm still willing and wanting to listen to folks come to the meeting and hear what they have to say. And I think the other part of it is folks also need to be mindful that if we don't do anything, whether they're for this or against this, if we don't do anything, what we're basically telling any other business is that they can come in any place that you can put a business.
Right.
Not just in these zones that we've specified.
In a
Other
court
zones that we haven't
judge-
specified, in business parks or anything else like that, we won't have any control
Right.
over this if we don't do anything.
And a judge would force that on the city, and we wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
Right. It's similar to, as you talked earlier about the methadone clinic and all like that.
Right.
Because of how they rule that as being an educational facility and such.
Right.
We can't tell it where it can and can't be.
Correct. And the same thing,
So
we
this
we
gives-
have
this
an adult
gives-
zone in
Right.
our city.
So this gives the elected officials and city departments all an idea to weigh in on where that could be. We have the process of the zoning. We also have the process of a host community agreement that the mayor negotiates. Then we also have the special permit process and all the other processes and other departments that they have to comply with.
Right. And we're just doing really what we have to do in order to give that opportunity for adult use marijuana retailing.
Right. And
Right.
we're just
And
doing our due diligence.
due diligence
doing
and
what's in
protecting the
best interest.
city.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we have a caller. Let's go to that next caller, okay? Ready, guys?
Good
Yep.
evening, councilors.
Who is this?
Your friend Steve Costa.
Steve.
Hi, Steve.
I thought it was you.
I think the overlay district is a great idea, but I think that the downtown one has got to be looked at a little closer. I think by saying that, you say the school zones, well, what about the Boys and Girls Club that's downtown? What about any of these youth organizations that, operate downtown?
Well,
There aren't
you
any
got to
on
consider
Washington
that
Street.
the Boys and Girls Club is in downtown in some way.
but it's not within 500 feet, which is even the area that we have for protection from...
For a K to 12, so the
right,
state law
for
is K to
schools.
12 is 500 feet.
Right.
And with the downtown,
We actually...
my understanding with the Cannabis Control Commission, that they have to notify all about it. So if you have a property wherever you are, if it's downtown or if it's in a commercial highway zone, the person, the applicant has to contact within 300 feet radius
Right.
of their property lines. So all that place. So we put things also in the ordinance that says that.
Right.
So, and then they have to go through a process. So,
And they have to come for their special permit, and then we will evaluate every special permit as a unique application, so that it's not just because we overlaid Washington Street area of downtown that anybody can just go
It's
there.
not over.
It's not,
Right.
exactly. The game's not over yet. You still have to get your special permit, and there's no guarantee.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
and then
I know that
conditions, as
portion.
Council
And
Mason,
we can put
the
extra
dean
conditions on it.
knows,
Yeah.
he's good to find out, conditions if need to be.
Well, I have two
necessary.
things that I'd like to see. I'd like to see them start with only
Appointments.
appointment sales.
I think a lot of them have seen what happened is the first roller of two, and I think I haven't myself heard or seen anything, is now we say there is 8 in the state,
I think so.
and since Salem was the third, and then
Right.
Wareham and others, it hasn't been, I haven't seen any news reports of anything of that going on, so I think as more happen, and there's other mitigation methods that businesses can do, and utilizing other businesses, depending on where they are, that are nearby, to send customers there in a waiting queue.
Right.
It's like, you go out to dinner, some places you have to make a reservation, some other places, if it's fast food or whatever, you're in there quicker, unless you're going to the Chick-fil-A. There's a little bit of a line, there's still a line there, but you're in
I
there.
disagree. I mean, if I can interject, we all know that the financial status of this community eventually is going to be, questioned on, that $12.1 million that the mayor has in free cash could disappear in the matter of time if we continue to keep our buildings, our city buildings, the way they are. I know you guys are doing the best you can, and obviously Thursday night at the school committee meeting, we heard from a very concerned parent about the J.G. Whittier.
Right.
But this is an opportunity, and I hope that one thing I have yet to find out, I'm still trying to find out, is unlike the lottery, you would honestly hope that the city gets there if it's approved, and we say we get 3 dispensaries in the city, that we're going to get our due diligence back from the state on that, and it's not being distributed to other communities that rejected having a dispensary in their community.
Well, we're gonna get our 3% plus our 3%, but out of the 20% the state collects,
That's
we get
their-
3%.
Right.
And the state gets 17%. And I think some of it is earmarked for drug interventions, and the rest, I think, might go to the general fund, so everybody would get that.
I don't believe, Council, I don't believe you would have to talk to Senator Senator DeZoglio, her one argument with the speaker was during the legislation process, was that she was promised that there was going to be intervention and more, for the opioid side of it. And I don't know if that ever made it off the floor because of that. I mean, there were so many things. Of course, we all know how it all works up the State House is you could put a simple bill on the floor, and next thing you know, it's being amended 16 times and then being voted on.
Right. Well, I'm sure what you're suggesting about for additional services for people that have opiate problems, that we would all support that. I don't think there's any argument there. But on the other hand, it's not at our level. We don't vote on how the state spends the state money.
But there has been some conversations.
That's true. I just think that, if we keep, we could continuously keep on delaying this process, and how much money that really we could get in taxation if you put it, say, up in Ward Hill, or one up off of 97 and you put one downtown. I myself would be opposed to a downtown if I was in your seat, because I just think that we have way too much congestion of traffic down there to begin with. If they do an appointment-only facility, what's the chances that the money's going to be very fruitful for the city at the end of the day? You guys got to open your eyes and look around.
If Salem is any example, they had a full calendar of appointments from day one. So I don't think they'll have a hard time.
I think there's an 8-month waiting list for an appointment.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Has it gone that far? So,
Well,
Steve,
that's a good step forward. I mean, it is really a good step forward, but I think, we really gotta brace for the future. We really, as a city, gotta brace for the future, because, everybody doesn't want to raise taxes, but just take a look around the city. I heard Council President Mitchison last week on his improvement plan. I sent him a very detailed email stating my concern about the fire department, and it never went noticed during the meeting. It never got. You guys keep on continuously pushing the fire department back, and guess what? It's going to catch up.
I don't
to the
think
city
that's
budget
true.
Eventually.
I'm going to argue with you on that. I don't think we've ever pushed the fire department
No,
back.
I think
we are advocates. Steve, we are advocates for them.
You got 85 firefighters in a city of 65,000. Minimum staffing level should be over 100 right now.
Well, you know what? We advocate for them budget time every year, but we can't appropriate money. So all we can do is try to get them trucks, to get them equipment, to get them more personnel, and we do.
Yeah.
So
at the recent
at least I know
evaluation,
the three of us.
You got a cancer bill that was passed in June that reverts back to 2 years back. If any member of the fire department had cancer and has been out of work for over 2 years, for the past 2 years, the city has to then pay them the 100% compensation of that.
These are not things that are before us. They're really more before the administration, and that's where you should be discussing it.
Well, that again, legislative.
But also, let us all know.
I'm sorry to say it, but there's got to be change come November somewhere,
Well,
because you guys got to there's got to be some compromise somewhere.
Well, more discussion to come. I will only tell you that we are 100% with the fire department and doing everything we can to get them more than they currently have in all categories. And we do that for everybody. We know we're trying to get money allocated. So, but on the other hand,
administrative versus legislative on that, but you guys don't get enough information in front of you either.
Well, we probably don't. So when you send something out, with all due respect to President Mitchison, maybe send it to all 9 of us so we can all be aware of what you're talking about.
Well, I think I'm going to forward that email off tonight and shoot it off to you guys.
Great.
Too,
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for your call. We got to take another break. We're on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495.
97.9 FM WHAV.
Catch the wave.
When the Haverhill School Committee meets, 97.9 WHAV FM is there live from Haverhill City Hall. Class sizes, special education, teacher hiring, and spending are among the topics covered Thursday nights at 7 when the school committee is in session. Presented as a public service from 97.9 WHAV FM.
Community Spotlight.
Elder Services of the Merrimack Valley is in need of drivers to distribute Meals on Wheels to homebound elders in the Haverhill area. Distribution takes place weekdays, and more information is available by calling Virginia 978-651-3020. Submit your own nonprofit events and announcements at least 3 weeks in advance. For best results, use the online form under the Contact tab at WHAV.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, I'm Eric Scott.
Open mic!
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And we're back on the Open Mic Show right here at WHAV. We do have one call on hold, but if you'd like to get on the line, 978-374-1900 is the number to reach out to us. From the Haverhill City Council, I'm Bill Macek, and I'm also the host of the Open Mic Show. But guests tonight, City Councilor Melinda Barrett and City Councilor Colin LePage. Give us a call, and we'll answer your questions or do whatever we can to put you at ease with whatever is bothering you here in the city. Let's take our next caller. Hello, caller.
Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Jonathan Maldonado.
Jonathan?
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm doing quite well, and yourself?
Great. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was tuning in to the local radio, and I was hearing the topic about how we're trying to get the next phases for the dispensaries to be opened up in the city of Haverhill.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I wanted to call and voice my approval for the idea of one opening downtown. I heard a bunch of good things that you're trying to set up for these businesses, like trying to set up for the 3% local tax to the city and the 3% of the community impact. I think that's a pretty cool platform to have as a standard.
Right. That's what the state recommends, and our Mayor Ferrantini got that done without any problem.
Yep.
With the, it's a 10-page host community agreement, so it's not all state boilerplate. A lot of things are in there that are of importance, for the city of Haverhill. And the mayor has done a good job putting that together, and he got the maximum amount of money that the state allows us to take from the proceeds in the operation.
That's awesome. And then also, as a local resident of the downtown area, I think having something like that would be something that would draw a huge crowd into the city, starting this big old blinker to kind of put Haverhill on a new kind of spectrum.
Yep.
To kind of get the next wave of businesses to kind of bring up the
Right.
next wave of Haverhill to up and coming.
And the other thing is the train's right there, and the buses go through. So, I mean, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to be in their own car.
Exactly. And personally, I think that walking to the downtown area is a lot easier as well. So I think that a lot of people have that mentality because a lot of people are already used to the way that the city runs. And so therefore, things like that will open up some of our parking spaces for the people who maybe not take the train or get on the local buses, but drive out to the city to kind of venture out and explore what we have to offer.
Well, that's exactly what I'm hoping. Somebody mentioned the other night at the planning board hearing the Downeaster.
Yes.
That it may not all come from Boston, north. Some of it may come south and down, because the Downeaster does stop in Haverhill and right above Mark's Deli, and so they can stop in, get a bite to eat, and then walk down to the shops on Washington Street and in the whole district.
Yeah.
So, it could help bring almost tourism or shoppers that come on a regular basis.
Shoppers, diners.
Shoppers, eaters.
Other people's money.
That's right.
Job opportunities too.
Yeah. Well,
that'd be a really cool venture for a lot of people to try to kind of bolster up as well. I'm one of those people who are trying to get into this new wave of kind of business and to try to bring this kind of whole acceptance over something that's been stigmatized for a while and kind of use it for something, of use, and to bring a whole new light over a subject that, has been so iffy for so long.
Right. I think those are all great comments, and none of us do things that we think are going to hurt Haverhill. We wouldn't do it. And, we don't always agree, but we're always thinking what we believe is in the best interest for the city, and all this, we believe, is going to help stimulate business and the overall presentation of our city to the general public. Yeah.
And simply, the city voted for this.
That's right.
Right? I mean,
More than
so
once. I mean,
Right.
if you looked at the medicinal
So, I
marijuana
mean-
vote, and then the
We're to
straw
serve the
vote.
people.
Right. We had the medicinal, and then we had the adult use, as it's
Yeah,
now
and there was
called.
a straw vote.
The straw vote.
Prior to the medical years ago.
Really?
It passed also.
Yeah. So, I mean, I that's why one of the reasons we did toy with, as a council, the idea of doing a ballot question last fall.
You actually had a conversation on the show, didn't you?
We might have.
But you put it out there for folks.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I mean, and
And then, after thinking about it, letting it digest a little bit, I think we agreed that there was no need to spend the extra 35 grand and run a separate election, because the people of Haverhill have spoken. And they spoke actually in the last presidential election, which is always
huge vote.
the biggest vote of all elections,
Yeah.
local elections, et cetera. So, it probably wasn't going to change. It would just be time-consuming and expensive. So we didn't do it. And so I think we'll, wear that badge of courage if people think it is, but I don't think it is. I think we made the right decision for the majority of the people that have spoken.
Yeah.
We got more people that are also looking to come in. I know that of at least 2 other establishments, potential adult use establishments. So that would bring us to 5 if they do get it together. So
Yeah, and a lot of your support is a really good part of that, being able to communicate with you guys, to be able to kind of further along this process that we've been going on, especially Miss Pinnell, who's trying to get the location in Haverhill, then downtown started, you know what I mean? Like, you guys' appreciation and your thoughts behind her pushing her forward is also a really huge driving factor as well.
she's very thorough and very dedicated to what she'd like to do, and I wish her well. And I want to thank you for the call, and call in anytime or contact us individually anytime as city councilors. We like to help people and answer questions too. If it's nothing more than just answering a question, don't ever hesitate to reach out.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
you guys.
all right, and
Thank
don't,
you.
it is an election year. Don't forget us in November.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, see you later. Bye-bye. All right, this is
not too early.
well, you've already started. You've already got pens printed with your name on them.
Oh, well, thanks for the advertising.
Yeah, well, look, I got to tell it as it is.
they write.
Yeah, and they write.
And they actually
Yeah,
function.
but will they last till November?
Oh,
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yep. Okay.
Taking the gloves off.
All right,
really.
what else do we need to talk about? How about the schools? You want to talk about schools a little bit?
A little bit?
Yeah,
Sure.
you have those on the
You got those on the
from
agenda.
the building commission.
And you're on that
Joint facilities.
Joint Facilities Committee.
So, yes, so as we've had some conversations, and it's been shown in school committee meetings and recent happenings in some schools and some roofs, as we saw some issues that have been going on for quite some time, but have really come to the forefront, is in front of us, we're going to have 4 schools.
That information leaked out when?
At least.
September?
It's October, I
October,
believe.
yeah.
September, there's
Yeah.
a lot of
Leak
rain.
being the
Yeah.
operative word?
Yes, I heard.
Yeah.
Are we going to a
We're
break?
gonna. You
Did I
saw the
that?
whiteboard.
I
We're
did
gonna
see
need
that.
to take a break. We'll get back to talking about the schools and joint facilities and some of the things that are positive that are going to move forward to help stop the leaks that are in the schools. And we'll
Has
get
to be done.
in more detail right after we take a short break on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495.
It's 7:33.
97.9 WHAV is the only FM station assigned to the City of Haverhill. Your membership is critical to continued operation. It's easy to join. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
That we deliberate and achieve with wisdom and understanding, recognizing the rights of all of our citizens with full regard for the dignity and justice of the individual.
Each week, WHAV News brings you live gavel-to-gavel coverage of the Haverhill City Council. Listen to 97.9 WHAV FM each Tuesday night at 7 when the City Council is in session from the Theodore A. Pelosi Jr. City Council Chambers in City Hall. Presented as a public service from 97.9 WHAV FM.
Wave weather.
Here's your wave weather forecast for Haverhill in the Merrimack Valley. Fully clear skies tonight with a low of 15, a northwest breeze near 3 to 6 miles per hour. About the exact same wind and full clear skies, and we'll double the temperatures, 32 for the high, mostly clear, low 24 for Tuesday night, and a little bit more mild on Wednesday. Sunny skies, highs right around 40. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
We're back on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM, and we have a very lively and good discussion with telephone calls tonight, all about Haverhill stuff, mainly about the overlay zone for recreational adult use marijuana. They changed it on me, so now I have to learn to say adult use marijuana retail. But Colin was going to talk about some school stuff, and let's let Colin do that. And we do have a caller on hold, and if somebody wants to join in on the hold line, 978-374-1900. Take it away, Colin.
Oh, thank you, Counselor. So, myself and Counselor Jordan are part of the Joint Facilities Committee that also operates with the school committee, which also has Scott Wood and Ryan Ciadello.
Right.
So the mayor has this, and we all got together and we've talked about this as far as Constantino. We did this with the Constantino and the Statement of Interest, and we pushed that along. From that also, as you were mentioning, leaks and such, that I think happened in December, also the J.G. Whittier was shown and Constantino was shown. They've come forward with what they call an accelerated repair program, and I'll give school committee man Rich Roser is the one who brought this forward and said that there's a program here. So what they did at the end of the school committee last week is they suspended the rules so they could vote on 4 schools to allow us to get into this program with grant funding that expires, we have to do it by February 15th, or February 5th, I believe. So we will see that. It's also part of our agenda tomorrow night, is we have 4 of these orders and all, and it's the Golden Hill School, the Silver Hill School, the Moody School, and the Haverhill High School, which, as you recall, we had this conversation a few years ago about replacing that and getting other folks to pay for that, as far as possibly putting solar panels and saving even more taxpayers' money. But it seems that it has now been determined that the high school roof should be replaced. And
can't go no longer. It's time, beyond time.
It's beyond time.
Yeah.
But there was only less than 3 years ago that we had that conversation that we should do
It was more
this.
than a conversation. We had a company that actually
we had a bid.
that had an RFP bid
We had a
in
vote.
for replacing the full roof and putting solar panels to save us money in electricity.
Right.
And
And pay us money on top of that.
And the school committee split on it to the wrong side, so we never ended up with it. It's really I never could understand it, and now we're going to have to pay millions of dollars to try and just get the roof repaired, and we won't have the advantage of the solar or the additional revenue.
Right. It's
Okay.
a big loss.
Yeah, but it wasn't city council stuff. That
No,
was
we
all
passed
school
it.
commission. Yeah, we passed it. All school committee decisions, good or bad. Okay, let's go to our next caller. Hello, caller. You're on the Open Mic Show.
Good evening, Bill. How are you?
Hi, Jerry. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Just a couple of things when you're talking about the school system, and right hot off the press, DEP is kind of mandated that every city and town in Massachusetts test their schools, and this is going to be the second time in a couple of years, I guess.
For lead?
Test their schools for lead and copper.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a mandate. How many schools does does Haverhill have, including private and public?
Well, I don't know
Because
the
that's
count.
the-
I don't know.
this,
Yeah, it's up high.
Mandate is to sample both private and public.
Well, you know what? I'm not worried in Haverhill because I think we have a very good water department, and I think we will pass the test.
Well, the issue isn't the
It's the
water
plumbing.
itself, it's the plumbing into
Oh,
the
the
building.
plumbing, okay.
The last time,
I think one
was
school
taken-
was inadequate last time.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Sure, we have some old pipes, that's for sure.
Yeah, Bill?
Yes.
Bill, the last time you I sampled that, and it's been a long time, I noticed in the results of Haverhill, I was comparing them with Methuen. I noticed in the results of Haverhill that you had, I think you passed all the tests, but you had some that were approaching what they call the alert levels.
Okay.
So it's a mandate that you do it. We're not interested in what they're concerned about. I guess would be piping used as with the use of lead solder, and so the schools have to be pretty old. And
yeah.
I know Methuen has a number of them, and you have also.
Yeah, we got some.
Yeah, and it would be primarily the water bubblers.
So that money could be spent out of the water and sewer enterprise fund. I'm sure you have one.
We do. We do.
Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have a pretty healthy amount in there.
But we're rebuilding our water and wastewater treatment plants.
Yeah,
yes, I know.
The combined sewer overflow.
Yeah. The CSO's on us.
The thing that I'm a little concerned about is that basically the sampling generally is every 3 years in Methuen, and even though DEP was the agency I work for, I'm not too happy with what they proposed for Methuen. They proposed to sample half the schools this year, and then sample the rest of them 3 years from now. And if you know anything about the Flint, Michigan situation, in that 3-year hiatus, you might have positives that are still active, and here you are, you didn't sample them, and that's what happened in Flint, Michigan. A pediatrician, Bill, was the one that started the row because he found that in a number of his young students that they had lead in their serum and lead in their tissue.
Yeah.
So I think myself that if you're going to do it, err on the side of public health and do them all at the same time.
Yeah, but in Flint, that was the whole water system.
That would make
I mean, that was, and we do check our water every year.
Right.
Continually, actually.
I would hate to have 3 years from now a positive show up. People would say, well, it's been active for 3 years, and then the pediatricians would start to do. So I think myself, my recommendation would be to err on the side of public health and do them all.
Yeah, that makes the most sense. But if they're going to split it, do they take into consideration the age of the schools, that the more modern, newer schools are going to wait?
Yeah, in Methuen. I tried to convince them that if they don't want to do it all together, then they should sit down with the city engineer who knows the age of the school and what kind of plumbing is in that particular school. We got a positive the last time it was at the Comprehensive Grammar School in Methuen.
Yeah.
We had a positive. It was in a bubbler, and it was really up there, pretty high.
Well, I agree with you, Jerry, and I want to thank you for the call. We have active phones tonight. We got 3 people on hold, so we're going to jump and we'll talk to you again. Thanks, Jerry. Okay. All right, we're going to the next call on our open mic show right here, and we're going to bring it up on this board this time. So let's see. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Yes, Bill?
Yes.
Dr. Gerard Boucher here.
Hey, how are you, Doctor?
Yeah, I want to thank Melinda, Colin, and yourself what you do for the city as counselors. I know it's not an easy work, and God bless you all. And you got my support in November. That's for
Thank
sure.
you for that.
Thank you, Jerry.
But I'm gonna ask a question related to school that I'm gonna listen to you on the TV. I'm gonna hang up and listen to your answer.
Sure.
Okay.
That all the dropouts, they have the high school dropouts, and they some of them join the gang members, and they can make $1,000 a delivery on their drugs. Now, how do you convince them to stay in school when they can make that kind of money? Because it's really all about money. So I don't know where the control is or if there's any end to it. So I'm going to hang up and let you answer that, but I want to thank you all again. You have my support, and keep up the wonderful, profound work you do for the city.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much, Jerry. Okay. All right. So we know the question, and now who would like to take the answer?
So what are we doing? So, I mean, we've been trying to get more and more folks into the schools, realizing that it's not just there's education, but there's also social services and things that need to be done, and to say, okay, here's the opportunity you have if to go to school versus if you're not succeeding and not doing well, where do they go? And I think that's what Jerry's trying to say, the alternatives. We also have this group called UTEC that's come in, and we're working with them. We also have our school resource officers, and we have folks that are out there to try to do that. So it's, if the numbers that Jerry say, yes, that's kind of hard to say, okay, to work and do an honest wage, I'll say,
Right.
and to have a job that pays that, if that's what it is, and to deter them. The other hope is that some of those kids, if they're being lured to that, also see the other side of that. Unfortunately, we've seen
It's
to
a
the
bad
other
ending.
sides.
We
of
certainly
that.
have,
We've
yep.
had a couple of murders. We've had some of these things happen
Yep.
in the city to folks that have been affiliated with that. Some young kids, and hopefully, I hate to see that kind of a lesson. That's a hard lesson, but can look at that and say, well, there's other opportunities and other things. If I need some mentoring or I need some other, help and stuff like that in school to stay here, and this will keep me on a path that'll keep me for a long and healthy life.
And that's good for the kids that are in that life or making those choices now, the 15, 16-year-olds that, see that the shiny stuff over here and they don't really have a path to a different career. I mean, we have to start, the best crime prevention is education.
Yes.
And and they say that if a child doesn't read at a third grade level when they're in the third grade.
And we're working for that.
And we're working hard for that.
And WHAV is even involved in trying to get book donations to help with the reading skills so that all of our students in Haverhill can get up to a third grade reading level at the third grade.
Right.
Another thing that the city's doing, or the residents of the cities, is all our neighborhood groups. We have Urban Kindness, we have Mount Washington, we have the Eco. So we have folks that are also helping, they say it takes a village to raise a child. So if we have folks that are also looking out for those that might start stumbling or have something that say, no, this is not the way to go. Not just put it all on the schools, but also there's community leaders. We have a lot of great community
Jack
leaders.
Gardner and his group.
Yeah,
that are trying
that's
to,
right. So we're doing a number of things in Haverhill. No one thing is perfect or going to do it for everybody, but I think we're using the best resources we can get our hands on, in a sense, to
And we'll take as
to
many as we
try.
can
Right,
get.
absolutely.
Right.
So we're trying, because you want to show them that they're also not going to risk going to jail if they're working a regular legal job, versus or getting into a shooting or something if they're running drugs.
And
So
the other side of-
they have to think of where are they going,
Right.
where's their life going.
Yeah.
And it's not just the running side. If all of a sudden you turn to start to use those
Using,
things,
even worse.
then what happens
Yeah,
to you,
that's
right?
right.
There's the thinking that you can try or maybe do something, and then all of a sudden it spirals into something that's uncontrollable.
Right. Well, we got to take one more break, and then we're going to be back, and we're going to take it right up until 8 o'clock with our calls and all the information we can get out to you. Thanks for being a part of the Open Mic Show tonight. If you want to call in, 978-374-1900 is the number. We'll be right back at 97.9 FM.
Open Mic!
Bill Macek and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495.
The Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom turns out local programs every day and night. Tune in for local news, Community Spotlight, and the Open Mic Show. 97.9 WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source. There's always more at WHAV.net.
Catch the wave!
Hi, Tom Bergeron here. I started at WHAV in 1972. And look, WHAV's still here, but it won't be if you don't help support it. Go to WHAV.net. Become a contributor. Keep us going.
WHAV Open Mic!
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents The Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Open Mic is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, we're back on the Open Mic Show. Bill Macek, Colin, LePage, Melinda, Barrett, all from the City Council, and we're doing the Open Mic Show tonight, talking about adult use marijuana overlay zones. We're going to be voting on those tomorrow night at the City Council. If you're interested, you can call in tonight, give us your opinion, but also you can come to the meeting tomorrow night, and if you have something that is unique to say, come in and voice your opinion at the City Council, 7 o'clock at City Hall. Colin,
sorry, but we also have school repairs. We talked about
right. We want to go. Yeah. So we want to get these things in.
Yeah. That's going on also, so folks are aware that we are working on that, and we're working in conjunction with the school committee and the mayor to work on repairing.
Absolutely.
These
yeah. And Rome wasn't built in a day, and unfortunately, everything. I do say to people that I'm dealing with, trying to help them out. One of my old-fashioned lines is the wheels of government turn very slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've added some grease to them lately. I think
well, sometimes you get lucky, but sometimes just because of process.
Yeah.
Because we have to do things in a legal process.
Off to this one.
Go ahead.
So when you say that, so sometimes it is slow. So sometimes it's slower than we'd really, really like. So this green communities, what I want to mention also. So green communities was a process or a thought that I got involved with when my first term in 2010. I brought it forward. The mayor actually spoke with him a few times. Council Sven and I met with the mayor, and he actually put a committee together back in September of 2010. They talked about it. We worked on it, and as you say, it just kind of wasn't the time, it seems, for Haverhill. Got put aside. But when we first did that, what I want to mention is the chairman of that committee was none other than Jack Bevilacqua.
Wow.
Open mic.
Open mic host.
Yep.
Right. Extraordinaire. Jack did the open mic.
Jack was part of that whole process when we started it. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it fully off the ground at the time, but we laid a lot of groundwork. So when it was brought back up again, I brought it as an agenda item back in December 2017. It was March. We had folks come in. We started the process, talked with the mayor. The mayor assigned work to it. There is a good amount of work to do it, but the benefit is, for the city is over $314,000 for the initial grant, this one that we have, and he actually sent us some of the things that will be repaired. Most of it will be on schools and stuff like that, some improvements and all, but after the first 314, which we need to work on quickly, we're eligible for another $250,000
Wow.
again. And then we can do that annually for all kinds of energy improvements. So, as you know, if we can get that money elsewhere,
then
we don't have to use the taxpayers' monies for that. We can use it for other things that we say that we haven't been using it for, or in other ways that we do things that it's another way to further enhance what we're doing. If it's more school teachers, if it's more police officers, if it's more firemen, whatever the needs are, if we can use other people's money, this grant from the state, because we comply, and we're saving ourselves also with it. Not we're just getting the money, we're also saving on the energy costs and all like that.
Right.
So
and we're continuing to grow as a community. We have growth going on residentially, but also downtown. We've got a 10-story building being built. And that's exciting.
No, there's a lot of good things happening.
A lot of good things. Absolutely.
There's been a lot of work. It's taken time, and the mayor's been
the Chen building is finally getting
16th
completed.
year, right? So there's been the mayor's renaissance and work. So there's been a lot of slow, hard work, and a lot of that work is, really starting to pay off, as you said, a lot of development
Absolutely.
downtown, and things are coming in line, and we're doing better financially as a city, and I think we're growing, and I think, and we're getting a lot more folks' interests coming in, and others that are looking to grow in the city. Others
Right.
are coming in.
Yeah.
If it's just as far as visiting, or a lot of, like you said, a lot of development has come from outside that is, investing in the city.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we've reached that point that we're not in trouble. When the mayor took over, we were, 2 of our 3 state reps at the time said that we would have to file for receivership, and you could find it in the paper. It was actually printed that we had no chance of turning it around. Haverhill, and our former mayor actually was talking about City Hall part-time and shutting down the library. You remember that,
Yeah,
Melinda?
I
You're
was
very
on
active
the,
with the
Friends of
library.
the library,
Yeah,
we
and
fought
so
hard.
Mayor Ferrantini had to come in and save us from going over that cliff, and he pulled it off. And he's become a very educated, knowledgeable mayor. He was even president of the Mayor's Association in Massachusetts for a year or so. So, I mean, he really has learned the job, does it well, and while we don't always agree on everything, we work
that's why there's
together.
none of us
We
also,
work
right?
together because
The
we're
checks
all
and balances
we're
and-
all waving the Haverhill banner.
Right.
That's
And
what it
the
comes down
library,
to.
we still need to do a little bit
Yeah,
more.
I
We're-
think
we're-
I have them coming up again.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Talk about
to do, further services and make sure that we're in compliance and do all the services for, the folks that live in Haverhill.
Now, Colin, and only because you're on the committee, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a woman that was very upset at the school committee about the J.G. Whittier School
Yeah.
and the leaks, and that
Yep.
they can't use the one section of the boys'
The boys' locker room.
locker
And
room.
then the both
And there's
bathrooms are-
mold there, which
Yep.
you never want to be around breathing mold. So
Mhm.
is there going to be another effort to try and also immediately try to get on that?
Well, so, I know the mayor made comment that was the second one in the Constantino, so I'm going to disagree a little bit, because Constantino, I pushed for Constantino in the statement of interest for
Yeah.
a couple of
Did I?
years, and the council was with me in doing that, and, but this last time I was looking and said, I think we need to be more comprehensive. Now that we're in the pipeline with that, I'm curious if we can look at a more comprehensive thing that deals with not just Constantino, but also the J.G. Whittier. It doesn't have to just be the one school. I look at it as when we did Hunking, the part of the talk was to alleviate what we did. We went from a middle school, truly a middle school of, was it 6th, 7th, and 8th grade?
Yeah.
And we had Bradford Elementary, so now it's K to 8.
Right.
And that was supposed to relieve some things, took in other kids, but also the Greenleaf was supposed to go offline,
Which it didn't.
which it didn't happen.
Right.
So in some ways, I understand some of the thoughts to keep something, because once you close it, you can't open it again. But if the thought is we have Constantino next to Silver Hill, and we have the Tilton, and then we have J.G. Whittier, and the complaints, J.G. Whittier seems an awful similar to when we did Hunking. Is that going to be the next one? They seem to be on the same kind of wet environment.
They are. It's on a very
and
wet
now the more the
swampland.
talk that they talked about the underground piping and stuff, and
Yeah.
talking
Yeah,
about the
a stream
insulation
underneath
and all,
it.
and having that. Well, that seems to have been what was the problem that eroded away the underpinnings.
Finally, yeah, get
for the structure at Hunking.
the moisture and everything is finally
That's what did it.
doing it
So
in.
if that's going to happen, the same kind of look would be, well, they have a huge field and all, which is supposedly on a swamp at Hunking, that they took what was the ball fields and they converted, and that's where they built it. So they could do things now
Right.
much
Right.
better than they
With-
could do
with the
50, 60
knowledge of
years
how-
ago.
The
how to build,
technology
with
and
the
To
the
knowledge.
knowledge,
divert
right.
water and how to do things and
Right.
such like that, should that be looked at, that maybe they should build there, and when done, take the existing Whittier down and have a bigger school that covers all of that,
Okay.
just like we did with Hunking.
See what time it is,
I
gang?
see that.
Yeah.
It's almost 8 o'clock, coming up on it, so we've just got a couple of minutes left. And I want to thank you guys for coming in and spending your time here on the Open Mic Show.
Well,
Of
thanks
course,
for
you
having
know
us.
you're
Thank
you're
you.
welcome, anytime, just, let me know. If
Okay.
you got something you want to talk about.
All right. yeah.
And call in whenever you want. And it was very nice having
I'm
you
gonna call
here.
now we have to wait 10 more months.
Make an
11 more months
appointment,
for
make an appointment, and
the birthdays.
we'll take your call.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you gotta
Miss
wait 11
those.
months for your birthday, so you gotta, pay attention.
Yeah.
But
Next time.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I think I was actually watching one week.
When we
in
announced
December
it.
when
Did
you're
you make
doing
the call?
January. So I was like, no, you can't call for your own birthday.
Yeah, you can.
Could have called for me, I would have called for you.
Because you don't even need to come on the air. You can just talk to Chris. And
Oh,
say,
okay.
you know, I know.
Oh, you know all the little
I
ins
know.
and outs here.
Well, sometimes when we're in the middle of a interview, people call in, and Chris just takes the information, and you know, I'll announce it later, but I don't need to put them on the air to make it official because we're all legit here. So that's about anything else you want to throw out. How's the weather been? I think we've been doing good with the budget for the for the snow, right? There may be some coming. They said maybe a week ago. Yeah,
Sunday.
next Sunday. Yeah, this coming.
Well, they can forecast a week away and be accurate.
Sometimes.
We'll see.
Sometimes. But that last one that's supposed to hit last weekend went south, stayed south. So that's it. And
At the Patriots game.
Patriots
Sunday?
game, yeah. You know, it's going to be tough. We'll see if the team that showed up, if the Patriots that showed up this past week show up again. Could be good, but they're not playing at home. That's the big thing.
Yeah, that Miami game cost them.
Yeah, a few things cost them, but this year they could have been at home. But oh well, that's the way it goes. Okay, we're just about out of time, and as I said, I want to thank you, City Councilor Colin LePage, City Councilor Melinda Barrett. I'm Bill Macek, the host of the Open Mic Show, and also on the City Council. We'll be taking our vote tomorrow night on the overlay zones for adult use marijuana. You can also find it broadcast live right here on 97.9 FM. Yes, it will be on the air here. It will also be on HC Media. So don't miss it. And thanks for listening. We'll be back next Monday night on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open Mic!
Join Bill Macek live on the Open Mic again next Monday night at 6. The Open Mic Show is brought to you in part by Smith Motor Sales of Haverhill, 420 River Street, exit 48 off 495. The opinions expressed on the Open Mic Show are not necessarily those of 97.9 WHAV FM, its underwriters, or affiliated stations. The Open Mic Show came to you from the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom.